Hey two-wheeled friends, Mrs.TWOWHEELD out on the 2007 Honda Shadow Spirit 750. Just got off work, so I figured, you know what, I got some time. I'm gonna tool around town for a little bit on this bike. It has been a few days, few weeks, few months since I have gotten on this bike, and the difference is it's incredible how different this bike is in comparison to my Heritage. So as some of you guys know, I upgraded from the 2007 Honda and got me a 2018 Harley-Davidson Heritage Softail, and I love my Heritage. I cannot say it enough how much I love it. But what I also love is hopping out on this bike and just tooling around and just having fun on it. My typical process of when I ride, I generally don't ever ride motorcycle to work, and that's primarily because I have a gigantic Yeti cup full of coffee, and I know on my Heritage I have a cup holder, but I don't know if it will accommodate my gigantic Yeti. So just for the fun of it, I drive my Jeep to work and then go home for lunch, and then I usually grab my Heritage and ride it back. And I told Dustin, I was like, you know what, here's an idea for a video that we could do is, you know, I can jump on a bike and talk about how different it is for me going from the smaller bike to the bigger bike, and now I'm tooling around on a smaller bike. One question that I got quite a bit, especially when we went to Lincoln, was how is the transition? How is the transition between going from the Honda to a Harley bed? And it is night and day difference. It is so weird being on this bike, and I told Dustin, I was like, I feel like a giant on this bike. I feel so comfortable on my Heritage. My legs don't feel scrunched up. My arms don't feel scrunched up, and honestly right now I feel like I am too big for this Honda. And there's guys that joke around at work and they're like, oh, why do you even hold on to it? Well, honestly, it means a lot to me. This bike means a lot to me because it was Dustin's first bike, and yeah, it should mean more to him about that than me. But he learned to ride on this bike. I got on the pillion the first time on this bike, and then when I started getting the itch, like, well, should I ride? I don't know, should I learn? I learned on this bike. You know, yeah, I took the motorcycle safety course and rode the little 250s all over, but in between those classes before I got my endorsement, I, you know, practiced just little stuff on this bike. So this has been a huge milestone for me, not only being a, you know, motorcyclist, but just being a person in general. So going back to, you know, to Nebraska, when we drove down and I rode my Heritage down, there were a couple guys who showed up in the group ride who were riding Shadows, and I was just like, oh, you know, little baby Shadows. And I say that because I have such a, basically like a strong feeling for these bikes, because they mean so much to me in my history with riding a motorcycle. And so one guy in particular, you know, he's like, yeah, I went from, you know, his I can't remember what kind of Harley Davidson he had, but he's like, yeah, but I went from that, which was a fairly large bike, to a Honda, and he's like, you know, having to relearn all that on a smaller bike. They're learning how, you know, how all the controls work and how it manipulates, or maneuvers, I should say that. And so he, you know, basically asked, well, you know, how was it for you? And me being a new rider, you know, obviously I'm super apprehensive of everything and everyone, and you know, Dustin sees things when I ride, you know, hey, be careful of this and don't do that, and I take that very seriously. And so it's all about growing opportunities and learning as you go. Like, there's things on my Heritage that I could probably do a lot easier and better than on the Shadow. It is windy. the windshield on here either, so I feel like whenever the wind comes up, I'm kind of like bobbleheading all over the place, and I can actually feel the wind move the bike around too. But so it's just kind of crazy, a little funny, I think, too, is like how much bikes vary from, you know, brand to brand, size to size, things like that. Like, I pulled out of the garage, you know, at lunch and you know, hopped on the bike, and I kept thinking to myself, like, why am I not going? Well, then I remembered that the clutch basically has to be fully let out for it to go. I was like, okay, well, that's something I forgot, because when I get on my Heritage and I go from first to second super fast, like, I get whiplash. My head goes back, my body goes back. That bike is powerful. And then I get on this thing and I'm like, let's go. Every bike has, you know, their own little nuances and things that you have to learn as you go, but it's really funny. Well, I shouldn't say it's really funny, but it's interesting how the body works in general. Like even though when I got on at lunch, I was just like, oh my gosh, how do I, you know, even operate this bike in comparison to the Heritage? But like, the body just remembers. And you know, it's no different than like learning to ride a pedal bike. You never forget how to learn, or you never forget how to ride a pedal bike. And I think that holds true too to riding motorcycle. You never forget. And yeah, there's certain things that are a little bit different. What a jerk. Gosh. Some people just don't know how to follow the signals, do they? So yeah, look at these trees over here. I mean, look at how much the wind is blowing them over. And I'm taking this corner and I'm like putting all my weight to my left side, because I'm like, I don't want to fly into this pickup that's to the right of me. But then, you know, part of my feel is, well, if I was on my Heritage, would I have this problem? Probably. And oh my gosh, I'm going right into the wind, and it's taken me. So going from this Honda to the Heritage, and now back down to the Honda just to kind of tool around a little bit, it has been different. But like I said, it's just crazy how the body remembers, you know, how everything works, and or how everything's supposed to be. Alright, I got a bunch of gravel up here. That's fun. Whee! Going off-roading in town. I don't know what he was honking at. What I would like to know from the audience, from those watching and supporting and being awesome, are you currently riding? What did you learn to ride on? Did you upgrade? Did you downgrade? Like for me, you know, obviously I started with the Shadow, went to the Heritage, which is definitely a bigger bike. Dustin took the Honda out a couple weeks ago, or last weekend, I can't remember when it was. He put it back in the garage right between the Heritage and the Road King, and you know, on TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is, there's a video like of the cat that's like, I was born a cat, I identify as a cat, but mom says I'm just a baby. So he put the Honda in between the two bikes, and I was like, it's just a baby. Like, seriously, this bike is just a baby in comparison to our other two bikes. But you know what? I love it. I love hopping on this bike and just cruising around, even though I have no idea. I have no idea what gear I'm in. Well, I know what gear I'm in, but I'm a little spoiled with my Heritage, with all the added little accessories, and you know, I know how much fuel I have. I have no idea here. Our oldest jumped on, well, she didn't jump on, but she sat on on the Honda the other night, and she was kind of like sloshing the tank around, so I was trying to gauge how much fuel was in the tank. But what do you ride, or what did you learn to ride on? Are you still riding your learner bike? Or have you upgraded? Or did you downgrade? Did you learn on something that was like way too big and you're like, yeah, I need something smaller until I get a little bit more comfortable, which is totally fine? Or did you ride on something smaller like I did with the Honda and then eventually upgrade to something larger? Leave your comments down below. Let's have a conversation about it. If you guys like motorcycle related content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell so you're notified for future notifications of uploads of either me or Dustin and me, or just Dustin. Give this video a big thumbs up. I look forward to seeing your comments down below about what you learned to ride on and if you are still riding that ride. Till next time, guys, peace out. We'll see you later.